Hi guys, welcome back. And for those of you guys who missed my last video, my name is Miss Ashley. I will be leading our STEM lesson plans on Tuesdays. I will be focusing a lot more on mechanical engineering, but I am going to be throwing different activities on there, and so that way the kids can have a different mixture of STEM lesson plans. I'm so excited to be doing these for you guys. Obviously, we started this with the intention of doing it for our after school program. So for those of you guys who are tuning in, hi, how are you guys? I miss you guys. I'm struggling here because we are missing you guys so much. We miss being with you guys, picking you guys up, joking around with you guys, all of that stuff. So I hope that you guys are tuning in and that you guys are going to be doing our lesson plans with us so that you guys can feel a little bit more closer to us. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit difficult for you guys to do these lesson plans at home because a lot of our STEM activities are group based, and so it's going to be harder because maybe some of you guys don't have siblings. Maybe you guys have siblings that are older and it's a little harder to get them to kind of participate. Parents, if you guys are watching, please participate with your kids. It helps so much when they have someone else helping them out, when they have a partner, someone who's guiding them to do it. Obviously, I'm going to be teaching you guys step by step on how to do all of this stuff, but I would really encourage parents to please participate. It's so much fun when you guys are doing these lesson plans. Trust me, when I do these lesson plans with the kids, I have so much fun. It's really nice to see how creative they think. And you know what? Sometimes it takes our creative side out too. So I know sometimes you guys will probably be more engaged than the kids, and that's totally fine. These lesson plans are made for you guys to have fun and to learn in the process of it. With that said, not only is this for our after school program, but we have been reaching out to our community, and so hopefully other students are tuning in and that they're also watching at home. We are trying to make the best lesson plans that we can so that you guys are entertained at home. You're going to be seeing our staff throughout the week, and so you'll meet each one of us this whole entire week. Yesterday we had Mr. Romero do a math lesson, so for those of you guys who didn't get to see it, please go back and go watch it. It was a great lesson, and I know that you guys definitely will enjoy doing some math at home. It's mostly for his class, which was the 3rd through 5th grade class. But you know what? I encourage the 1st and 2nd grade class to kind of start learning a little bit more. I know that we have a couple of students who were curious in learning already multiplication, so if you guys are interested in that, please go back and watch that video and have some fun with it. And if you guys get stuck, ask your parents, ask any siblings, ask your neighbors if you can, to help you out. You can also leave us comments, so if you're not understanding something and you want us to explain it a little bit more, let us know. Comment on it and let us know so that we can definitely mention it in our next video, or maybe we can do a whole video on just something that you asked us. Maybe it's a lesson that we need to do for you guys, and we would be glad. So now that we've gone over all this introduction stuff, we are going to be starting today our lesson on storms and how we can save the animals that are living in our neighborhood. I know that some of you guys live in an area where there's a lot of floods, and so when it's raining, a lot of the streets get very flooded. There is a video on YouTube that you guys can watch that I will be posting the link on here so that you guys can also go watch it while as you're watching this video, so that you kind of understand a little bit more what we are doing. So when it rains here in San Jose, there's some areas that do get flooded and they get overwhelmed with so much water, and it could cause a lot of chaos for some people because maybe some of you guys don't know how to swim and all of that stuff. But have you guys ever thought about how animals will survive? So what we're going to be doing here is, yes, we are creating different stuff to be able to help people survive, but what about the animals? What are we going to do to be able to get them out of an area that is flooded and that they can't swim and they can't get through? We want to be able to help everyone out because everyone here, we find a way to get people out of floods and all of this stuff, but you know what? Sometimes we don't really think about how we're going to get animals out there. And so since you guys love animals so much, we're going to be using them, and we're going to be able to use that example to help create something that can help the animals get through tough weather conditions. And considering what type of animal that you're going to be saving and all of this stuff, you're going to be able to create a device that will help the animal get across to wherever you need. So they're going to get from point A to point B with your device. So we want to make sure that we're putting our thinking caps on before we start on. Remember, guys, for those of you who are in my program, remember we have an invisible engineering cap that you guys can just throw on, and it's going to help you think so much more about the different ideas that you can come up with. And so for those of you guys who have not been in our program, well, you guys also have one right in front of you. Everyone has one. You can put it on, and it's going to help you guys think a lot more. You guys have been presented with the challenge now. So now that you guys have done that, what we are going to do is we're going to think about the specifics of this challenge. So yes, you have to build a device. That is the main thing, right? But we have to consider all the different things that you have to do and that you have to make sure that you're including in your device. So this means you're saving an animal, right? So now we're gonna think, okay, what kind of animal do I want to save? What kind of animals are in San Jose? What kind of animals would you save in the San Jose area where there's floods? And that's something that you guys will probably have to do some research on. But for now, we are only gonna do simply just regular pets, and we have to consider that we're trying to save them and that we're trying to make sure that they have everything they need to be able to get across from one place to another. How are we going to get them there? How are they going to be safe there? And then the other thing that you need to include is you need to make sure that you're thinking about a storm. So if you're saving an animal from a storm, you need to think, okay, does it have heavy winds? Is it raining very hard? Is there so much water? How much water? And if there's any debris, any trash, any leaves that are going all over the place that you need to consider to make sure that that animal is safe from point A to point B. So obviously now, before you get started, you need to know what materials you need, right? However, for my lessons, I want you guys to think first. I don't want you guys to look at the materials yet. I don't want you guys to have any of that stuff in your hands yet, because I want you guys to think about how you are going to do this. The main thing that you guys need to do is first imagine, and then you create. And then after that, once you start creating, you're going to test it, you're going to reflect on it. It's the design challenge that I've gone over with you guys. We've had our poster that looks similar like this. It's a big poster that's like this. And we go over it all the time because we use this to be able to build our challenges. And so I want you guys to start off first by talking about it. So if you're with your parents, or if you're with your brothers, sisters, or your friends, whoever it is that you are with right now, I want you to talk to them about it. What is it that you're thinking about? What do you think would be cool to make, and how big, and all of this stuff? So first, I want you to consider that we are going to be using something very small to just kind of fill up with water. We're not going to be filling up our tub. We're not going to be doing all of that because obviously we don't want to waste water. So we want to just use something like a small container like this. So obviously your device has to be able to fit in there. So do you think that if I make a device maybe about this big, do you think it's going to fit here? It's probably not going to fit, right? So guess what? We're probably going to have to cut some stuff. But I just want you guys to think about stuff that, obviously you're going to have to consider. What materials are you going to use? If I have this bucket filled with water, the materials that I put together, maybe I should be able to consider that, hey, maybe some things are not going to go in the water very well, right? So this is why I've created a poster back here. This poster is kind of something that you guys can do and that I would love for you guys to do at home. And I really hope that you guys are following along and that you guys are doing these steps step by step. I would really appreciate if parents, you guys, maybe if you guys have an extra notebook that you don't need, or if you guys have a notebook that you're not using, please use that notebook to have as a journal. Document every single thing that you do for engineering, any little design that you guys like to draw out. Put the date on it so that you guys know what you did. If you write things down, it makes it so much easier for you guys to learn. You're writing your notes, you're writing things that you learned. So I hope that you guys are doing that as we're doing our lessons. We used to do this at 3rd Street, and so we hope that you guys are still continuing that and that you guys are still being able to kind of keep all of that stuff so you can go back and if you want to do it again, or if you want to teach somebody else to do it, guess what? You have your notes, you're able to go back. So one of the things that you guys can put in your journal is materials that we have. So let's say, for instance, we need to find out, does it float? So now, for instance, if we have lids, if we have cardboards, if we have straws, and we have coffee filters, we need to find out whether they all float, right? So what I did is I created a checklist about the materials that I have, and I put a green and a red dot. Green for me means yes, it can float. Red means no, it can't. So you guys can do the same thing, and you guys can go ahead and create your own list and be able to identify what materials can flow, what can't, what things you can use, and what things you can't use. It works 10 times better so that way when you're starting to build, you know exactly what you need and you know what you need to have so that you can build a device that is going to work. And if it doesn't work, guess what? Guys, we've learned about failure. It doesn't matter if it doesn't work the first time. We go back and we fix it, or we edit stuff, or we do things like that. We do not give up. We want to make sure that you guys are still trying your best, and if it doesn't work the first time, it's fine. Things don't work the first time all the time. Engineers take years to build something, and so we want to make sure that you guys are thinking the same way and that you guys are not being discouraged because it didn't work the first time, or it's sunk in, or whatever the problem is. It's okay. We can always go back and fix it and rebuild and all of this stuff. Some of the things that I put together that you can always use for any of the STEM lesson plans. It doesn't have to be every single one of these things, but these are just random stuff that I picked up. You can use any of these stuff for any of the lesson plans, any of the activities we do. Just get any random stuff. I even brought cardboard as well. And I brought just some random stuff that, I can use that, would be great to use for any STEM lesson plans. It would be nice to have more options. You don't have to go buy any of these stuff because obviously I'm not asking you guys to buy any of it. If you guys can just find any of these random stuff in your house, use it. Make sure that it's okay with your parents first before you start destroying some stuff. So just make sure that you're asking and that you can use any of that stuff. You can recycle any of these items. As you can see, some of these straws are cut, but guess what? I'm still going to use these because these are still useful and we don't want to waste so many of these. I would recommend to try to use less of these, but I have these as options in case we need them. But obviously I would want you guys to be more cautious of what things you use because, we want to make sure that it's good for the environment. The other thing is, you do not have to have a glue gun. I only have this as an option. Sometimes it makes it easier for me to use this and to be able to glue stuff together. But because you guys are minors and you guys, we want to make sure that you guys are okay and that you guys are not burning yourselves with these. So please, guys, make sure that you guys ask an adult to help you with this. Your brothers, your sisters, if they're older than you, please let them use it. Let them help you with it. Your parents, just please be careful with these. The other thing is if you do not have a glue gun, that is totally okay. If you have tape, it doesn't have to be this one. It can be any tape. It can be Scotch tape, any of that stuff. It could be duct tape or even glue. You guys can use any of that to just put all your stuff together. Be creative. Do not feel like you need to have all of this stuff here because guess what? You guys are thinking as engineers. You guys are going to be putting stuff together and you don't need any. You don't need all of it. So now let's get started with all our building. Let's go over some of our criteria, some of the things that you're going to need to know to be able to build. Obviously, I went over already the size. You need to be able to make sure that it fits in the bucket that you are going to be using. So for me, I'm going to be using this bucket. I'm going to be filling it up, not that much with water, maybe about that much. Maybe like a quarter, maybe half. Like I said, I want to make sure that you guys are not wasting water and that, because it is a challenge, but we want to make sure to test it. But we also want to be sure that we're not using so much water, because then that's just a waste, right? So if you know that your device or your bucket is going to be about this size, you don't need a big device. You need something that's going to be able to fit and be able to go across, right? So obviously the size matters. You need to make sure that you are considering how big it is, because obviously if it's too big, it's not going to fit in here, and then you just kind of wasted all your materials, right? So we want to make sure that you're considering all of that. Now, if you are working in a team, if you have people that are working with you, obviously you guys need to share all of your ideas. So if you are working with any siblings and they're helping you out, you should work together, not against each other. Do not create two devices. Remember, guys, at our program, I always tell you guys to work together and not create different devices. This is just a waste of materials, and you're not really getting that whole group effort and teamwork, down if you guys are just not working together and you're creating two different devices. And let's say you guys have the same idea. you have two devices that are exactly similar, and you could have worked together and made it better. When you work as a group, you are able to bring a whole bunch of different ideas, and you're able to just kind of work together, make it better, and maybe you can create a device that's going to be super amazing. And you want to make sure that you work together. So please make sure that you guys avoid that, and then you guys avoid creating two different devices. Like I said, it's just a waste of material, guys. We don't need all of that. So now the other thing that I'm going to go over is you are going to need a cup, maybe like this, just a regular cup. Doesn't have to be a super big cup, and you don't have to fill it up all the way. Fill it up with water, maybe about halfway. So when you are going to be testing out the water, you're gonna have to dump it onto your animal or to your device. Now, why does this need to be done? Well, if you are trying to save an animal from a flood, you have to consider that that is a storm, right? That there's going to be water that is going to be pouring from the sky, and it's going to make it 10 times more harder to get your animal from one place to another. So now this serves the purpose of being able to get through a storm and being able to get through that downpour, right? So you have to make sure that your device is strong enough to be able to survive a whole bunch of water being tossed on it, right? So that's one of the challenges, and I'll be showing you guys this. So if you guys don't understand it right now, it's okay. When we do the testing, you're gonna be able to see what is it exactly that you're gonna do, so that you can see if your device works or not. And if it doesn't, like I said, do not get discouraged. You can always go back and fix it. If it sinks, that's okay. We'll create a new one, and we'll go ahead. I'm going to be building with you guys. I don't want you guys to do exactly the same thing I'm doing. If you guys have different ideas and you say, hey, that material that Miss Ashley used may have not worked, maybe I'm going to use something else. I encourage you to use any materials that you guys want. You do not have to use the same exact one that I use. I'm just giving you guys an example on how to do it. But I really hope that you guys are putting your engineering caps on, and you guys are being creative, and that you're doing your own ideas and you're not just following what I'm doing. Obviously, I'm trying to give you a different way of doing something. So I'm going to do it my way, but I want you guys to think, and I want you guys to see the different materials that you guys have. And if there's something that works better, that may work better than mine, do it. Try it out. If you think that your device is going to work 10 times better than mine, that's perfectly fine. We all think differently, and I want you guys to make sure that you're doing it, you're personalizing it, and that you're making it your own device, and that you're not device. So now the other thing that I want you guys to do, and this I want you guys to do at the end. I'm really hoping that you guys will listen, and that you guys will not do this in the beginning, because this, obviously you should still consider it, but it's a feature that you can add at the end. You do not need to do it as you're building your device. I want you to build the structure first, and then be able to consider the things that an animal needs to survive. So let's say, for instance, I'm going to be using my cat as an example. I will be trying to save my cat from, wherever I'm in, and trying to get her, across to me. So what I'm going to consider is, obviously she needs food to survive. What if it's a long journey and she can't make it? So I need to make sure that there's food there. I need to make sure that she has somewhere that she can go to use the restroom. Maybe she needs a cat litter. Maybe she needs all of that. Maybe she needs a cage, because she gets very, very scared and likes to run around, and we want to make sure she stays in my device, right? So those are things you need to consider. So whatever animal you decide to choose, you need to consider the things that they need to help them survive, right? So make sure that you consider that. I would suggest for you guys to have your testing area already done. So obviously I was a little bit unprepared. I don't have my testing area yet, but I will have it soon. And once I have it, I'll show you guys how it's set up. But I would probably suggest that before you get started, you should do your testing area first. Fill it up with water, or not all the way filled up, but make sure you put the water in there. Make sure you get your cup ready and all of that stuff, because when you're building, you are going to want to test every time. So once you build the first piece, some of you get very anxious and want to see if it floats, and that's okay. we can always test. That's why the test area is there. You can go and test every single time that you need. So I want to make sure that you guys do that. Now, the other thing is, I do not want you guys to spend like a whole hour on this, because you know, when we do our lessons at 3rd Street, we do not spend an entire hour just working on it. We spend maybe about, the top time that we spend on it is maybe about 30 minutes. And that's only because I give you guys more time. What I want you guys to do is I want you to challenge yourselves. I want you to time yourselves. Maybe 15 minutes. Time yourselves 15 minutes. How much can you get done in 15 minutes? I want you to do that, and I want you to be able to see how much you can get done, how much progress. Time yourselves 15 minutes, okay? If your time is up, I want you to test it. And if it's not completely done, then okay, give yourself maybe 5 more minutes. But do not go over 5 minutes. I want you guys to get the point of trying to do something, trying to work kind of quickly, but being creative, because if the more time you have, the more you're trying to fix and try to perfect it. And what I want you guys to do is challenge yourselves. I want you guys to see how much you can get done and how much you can think while you guys are being timed. So time yourself 15 minutes. I'm going to be doing this process, just kind of building it, so you guys will see how I do stuff, and then I'm going to be testing it out. So I hope that you guys enjoy that. Okay, so now obviously you guys are not going to be able to see my face because I'm going to be building here, and I want you guys to see the process of it. I'm going to be building here for you guys. It makes it easier for you guys to see instead of me trying to show you guys every single thing by going like that. It just makes it so much easier, and it's so much fun that way. I am going to be just using just random stuff. Obviously, like I said, I'm going to be pretending that I'm going to be saving my cat. This is what I'm going to be building. And so I decided on using a lid. And the only reason why I did this is because I feel like it might float a lot better than if I use cardboard, because, remember we did our poster. Certain things are not going to be able to survive in water. So if I dip this in water, what do you think is going to happen to it? It's probably going to be all flimsy, right? It's going to get all soggy, and the paper is going to dissolve. So we want to make sure that we're considering the things that we're using. So since plastic doesn't really, it doesn't get affected by water, it floats, right? So we want to make sure that we consider what we're using. Now, the other thing to consider is that certain tapes, they get, they're not sticky when you put them in water, right? So if I put water on this, do you think that it's still going to be sticky? Probably not, right? So am I going to want to use this? No, I'm not going to want to use it because it's not going to work. So now I have to think, okay, what is going to work? What is going to hold my stuff together? How am I going to be able to pull my animal, across? So I thought maybe I can use some string. Maybe I can cut a hole into something, into this here, and be able to pull them, right, as I'm going to save my animal. Now, the other thing that I want to consider is my cat gets very scared, and so she is very, it's very hard for her to be around people and things like that. So obviously I want to create something that's going to keep her in one area, right? That she doesn't go jumping off, or she doesn't leave. So I want to make sure I consider that, right? So now I have to consider what exactly is going to hold her together, or what's going to, obviously I want to do like a cage, right? But I'm not going to put a full cage on here, right? I'm just going to, I'm going to just do something small to be able to kind of keep her in one area. So with that said, I'm thinking that probably if I use popsicle sticks and I create a certain, maybe like a little box, I can put her, I can keep her in one area, right? Now the thing is, I want to kind of keep a space limited because she does need a lot of space, right? We don't want her to be in a small area. So I'm going to be just kind of doing something small for her, but I'm going to be using a hot glue gun because For the popsicle sticks, it's a little harder to keep them together if you use tape. And obviously, if you use tape and you're pouring water on it, we want to consider that the tape is not going to be sticky the entire time. So I'm going to be using a glue gun, and I'm going to be able to glue the popsicle sticks together so that you guys can see how I create the cage. Okay, so now that I have my hot glue gun a little bit more hotter, I'm going to show you guys how to do a couple of these things. Now, I did say I was going to be using some string to be able to pull the device. And so the way that I'm going to use this is, I mean, for now I'm using a box cutter. I think it would be easier if you work maybe with maybe something a little bit more sharp, but you guys have to be so careful with this. Please make sure that you guys are not playing around with these, that you guys are not running around with all of this stuff. It's very dangerous, so you need to be very careful. The only thing that I'm going to be doing is I'm going to just kind of poke a hole through the plastic. So as you can see, I did something kind of small. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but you guys will see it when I put in my string. And so I just want to kind of do just 2 little holes where I can put in the string, right? So that I can be able to have them go across. Like I said, be very careful with this stuff. I really want to make sure that you guys are being very, very, very careful. We don't want you guys to get hurt at home. So just be very, very, very cautious of how you're using this stuff. So now that I've kind of made my holes before, I'm going to hold off on the strings for now. I'm not going to place it yet, only because I kind of want to build the little cage for my cat first. And so the way I'm going to do this is, let's make sure it's kind of hot. It's still a little bit warm, so we're gonna wait a little bit on that. Some of the glue guns have a little stand. Please make sure to use it that way. That way you guys are not burning each other and, you know, all of that stuff. So the way that I decided to do this was I am going to put a little base first, right? Something that can hold off what I'm gonna build on top of it. And so the way I'm gonna do this is I'm going to put these 2 like that. Right, I'm gonna glue them. And then I decided to cut some popsicle sticks, and I'm going to just kind of use them and glue them together to kind of create a wall. That way it kind of creates like kind of like a cage. But one of the things that I did consider, obviously, is they need air, right? They need air to breathe. So you need to kind of space them out. So what I'm going to be doing is the top layer, I'm going to be spacing out. I'm going to give it a little bit more room so that they can breathe and get some fresh air. So now let's check. This is kind of hot already. So let's see if it works, and let's see if it's getting some of the glue. Now, the thing with this is glue guns and the hot glue can be very, very dangerous. It can burn you pretty bad. Some of our kids have experienced that at our program, and so have I, you know, and it's so dangerous to work with these, but they're so effective. I want to make sure you're just using it right. Don't use a lot. You do not need to go crazy with the hot glue gun, because, you know, I know some of you guys tend to think that you need so much glue to be able to glue, to put things together. I only used a small amount, so I don't know if you guys can see this, but I only used a small amount, and look at how well it just got everything together. It's just being patient and being able to let it dry and make sure that it gets hard and, you know, and that it's able to stick together. You do not need a whole bunch of glue to be able to do this. I only used a little bit. However, I don't think the glue is hot enough, so mine's actually came off right now. So I'm gonna try it one more time, and I'm gonna glue it again. Just put a little bit. Like I said, you don't need a lot, and I'll show you guys here how I do it. I only put a little bit. You don't need a whole bunch of glue to be able to glue something together, right? You need a small amount, and then you're just gonna put them together, just kind of like that, and then just hold it in so that way they can stick together. Give it some time, be patient. Do not feel like it's gonna get it right away, because you know what, it doesn't work that way. It needs a little bit of time, but look at how well it put all of it together, right? So we're gonna do the same exact thing for the other side, right? So I'm gonna put my glue on each one of these. So now I'm gonna kind of let that one dry a little bit because you don't want to go ahead and start gluing a whole bunch of them together, and then guess what? They're gonna fall apart. You need to kind of give it some time so that it could stick together, and then go ahead and grab your glue gun again and stick it again. You're just gonna do that. And now keep in mind that this is not something that I researched. I'm building by using my brain and being able to kind of just create something different. It doesn't have to be something that I searched online. It's none of that. So be creative. I'm doing it just based on like however I thought maybe I can work it out. So don't feel like you need to go online and research any of this stuff. So you don't need all of that. All you need is your brain and your thinking cap. That's it. So now I'm gonna put my base because I haven't put it yet. And so I'm just gonna paste it there. I only put 2 areas I put glue. And so I kind of put a good amount on this one only because this is the part that's gonna be holding my stuff together, right? And so I'm gonna put that there. And then I'm gonna try to space it out as much as I can because I want enough room for my cat, right? So now this is what it looks like. I put them together there. And now what I'm gonna do is, the way that I thought this through is I was just gonna kind of put a barrier like this. And so I'll show you guys how I was thinking of doing it. So actually I'm gonna put the glue here. You know, glue guns get very messy, so you see all that string kind of just popping out. And so the way I decided to do this was just kind of like this. I put glue to be able to hold it still, to be able to hold it. Obviously, it's not going to hold still by itself. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create the top like a roof, right? And the reason why I'm creating a roof is because, remember, we're going to be pouring water on top of it, right? So you need to make sure that your animal is dry and that is able to get through safe without drowning, right? We don't want the thing, we don't want the animal to drown, you know, with a whole bunch of water being thrown on top of them. So I'm going to create something on top. I hope that, you know, you guys are at home still washing your hands because things can get very messy and you're touching a whole bunch of stuff. Please make sure you guys are washing your hands and you're being safe out there with everything that's going on. We want to make sure that you guys are being clean and that you guys are taking care of yourselves. So make sure that you guys are washing your hands for 20 seconds. Stay safe out there. Please keep a distance and that you guys are not touching a whole bunch of stuff. And, you know, we want to make sure that we get through this and that we're able to see each other again, right? So now I'm going to kind of let it dry. But as I'm letting it dry, now the thing that I'm starting to think about is what am I going to put here? Am I going to close it? Am I going to leave it open? Obviously I'm going to put a roof on top because we want to make sure that the water doesn't get through. But like I said, my cat will tend to just kind of run and so now that I'm considering that, I'm going to close it up, right? I'm going to probably close everything up because I'm going to put her in there. But like I said, I want to make sure that she has enough room in there and that she has enough air in there, right? Enough oxygen because we need her to breathe. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be closing this and I'm going to be just adding a roof so that she can it's kind of like a box, right? So now I'm going to need a little bit more popsicle sticks, right? I'm starting to notice that the popsicle sticks is what I'm going to be using most of the time. So now I can go a lot of ways by doing this. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to just use some popsicle sticks. I'm not going to be using all of it, which actually I think I added the glue stick at the wrong area. So I'm just going to add a bunch. Uh-oh. We almost dropped our glue gun. This is why we need to be careful, right? And so here is that. I'm just kind of adding it a little spaced out because, you know, like I said, she needs air to breathe. And so I don't want to have her in one area you know, with no air. So I'm just kind of spreading this out for now. This one might be a little bit more tough because it's not even. Like I said, this is just my test, you know, I'm not. Okay. It doesn't need to be perfect, guys. So if it doesn't look perfect, like mine's obviously doesn't look pretty perfect and it just kind of looks weird, but guess what? It's a test. I'm gonna obviously, this is just my prototype. And for those of you guys who do not remember what prototype is, or if you guys are new and haven't heard that word before, a prototype is basically, it's kind of like your test. You're building a device that, you know, right now it's basically your design and what you're going based on, and then you can decide whether you want to make it better and use the same prototype and use the, you know, that design and then make it better and then improve on it, or you can create another one and then go from there. Okay, now I put my popsicle sticks away and I forgot I still need them, guys. So now I can decide whether I want to still use those popsicle sticks or if I want to use the jumbo ones. Have you guys seen those before? They look like this. They're just a little bit bigger than your normal one. Actually, a lot bigger. So I think I'm going to just probably use the jumbo ones because I want to kind of save my popsicle sticks. So I'm trying to just kind of get a little bit of just different devices. But I'm actually starting to think that if for the top, I kind of want to use straws. I'm thinking about using straws, and the only reason why I want to use that is because I feel like the popsicle sticks are a little too heavy, and I don't want my device to sink. And so if I keep adding more popsicle sticks, it's just going to make it heavier, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use some straws. And it's okay if some water gets in there because, you know, when you guys are on boats or things like that, you know, some water gets in there and that's fine as long as it's not flooded, right? That we don't want the whole entire thing to be full with water. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be cutting this because I do not need a whole bunch of this this straw. So I think that might actually work because I don't need that much. And I'm only gonna add a little bit of glue because you know what, this plastic will probably stick very fast. So I don't need this much of the straw, so I'm gonna cut it. And remember, I'm gonna leave a little bit of space in between. Oops. You know, before I close it up, and so the thing is, obviously in your head, you're closing it up because you don't want water in it and you need to put the animal in there, right? Now, however, obviously when you're building a device in real life, you need a door, right? So for now, I'm not gonna add a door because my main mission is to make sure that the water doesn't get inside. So I'm not gonna worry about all those details right now. I can figure that out later when I'm all done with it. So for now, I'm just gonna be focusing on making sure that the animal is safe and that the device works before we actually put the animal in there, right? Because we want to make sure that they get through. Now I'm going to use different straws because these are kind of weird and it's a little harder to use, so I'm going to put more straws. Okay. Now I'm just having fun with this. I'm just being creative. I'm not focusing on how it looks. That's not my main concern right now. My main concern is making sure that the animal is safe. I do not care how it looks. I don't care if it's colorful or all of this stuff. I just want my animal to be safe. Okay. So now, I think I only need maybe 2 or 3 more straws. I'm going to put a bunch of glue. And I'm just gonna put these together. I'm gonna kind of space this out a little bit. Oops, I kind of burned myself. So you guys gotta be careful with this glue. I just got it all over my hands, and I can tell you that it burns. I just didn't react as much because I don't want to scare you guys. But here you go. So now I'm done here, right? There you go. I've created my cage for my cat. And this is where I'm going to be putting her in. Now, the last thing that I need to do for my device is just add my my string, right? So that I can be able to set it down and pull it across. As you can see, my device is floating, right? It's floating, it's moving around. I'm able to pull it and it's not sinking in. It doesn't have any water in it. That's the great part. Now, we are going to test it out with the water, right? The water that I said we were going to dump on it. So now, if I dump the water and it's raining, let's see what happens. Whoa. What happened to it? It sunk in, right? So did my device work? It actually didn't. Now, I want you guys to think, why didn't it work? Look at my device. Now tell me, what do you guys see? What do you think didn't work? Those are things that I want you guys to think about, and I want you guys to write down. So Miss Ashley's device didn't work, right? Now, me, since I'm the one who built it, I'm starting to think that it didn't work because one, the lid, it has the round edges right here. And sorry guys, excuse my cat. She decided to be on the camera. But we have the device here, and obviously it has like a rim, right? And the water, when it was being poured, it had nowhere to go. So it just stayed there, and it kind of just sunk in the whole thing because it was being pushed down with the weight of the popsicle sticks and the weight of the water, right? So it went down. Now, let's see. The other thing, I want you guys to test out your device. Obviously, you know, I tested out mine, and you guys were able to see how it reacted. So now I can't wait until you guys test yours out. And then just, you know, if you guys want to leave me some comments on there and just kind of tell me how it worked, that'd be kind of cool. Before I let you guys go. So now that I've gone over my device and I've kind of asked myself some questions already about how I can fix it for the next time and all of this stuff, I want you guys to do the same thing with your device. You know, if it didn't work, why didn't it work? What are you going to do for the next time? How are you going to fix it? I don't want you guys to throw this away. I don't want you to throw away your device because we're going to be using it for the next time. Next Tuesday, I'm going to kind of challenge you a little bit more. So the lesson might be a little bit shorter than this one. And so it's just a challenge to see whether you thought about it and whether you created new ideas and whether you've, you know, thought about how you're going to fix it and how it's going to work effectively next time. So please make sure you guys don't throw this. Keep it in a safe area so that way your parents don't throw it. Let them know. Tell them like, hey, this is the device that I'm going to be using for next week because Miss Ashley's going to challenge us a little bit more, and that's fine. You know, your parents will make sure that, you know, it stays in a safe area so you guys can use it for the next time. Now, before I let you guys go, I do want you guys to open up your notebooks and just kind of jot down what is it that we did today and what you learned. I want you to kind of use this example that I have back here, and I'll go over it right now, because I want you guys to document your process, you know, your whole progress through everything. And I want you guys to write down what you learned, and then, you know, what things worked and what didn't work. And so the thing that you guys are going to be using is this kind of like example back here. And so basically it says, here's a drawing of my animal or of my device and how it helps my animal stay safe in a flood because, and then you're going to explain to me why it stays safe. And then you can just kind of draw a little example here in the bottom. It doesn't have to be, I use it as an example of a letter, but you don't have to do a letter. That's totally fine. So just please make sure that you guys are jotting down exactly what it is that you guys are, what you guys did, and then that you guys draw it out as well. Other than that, I had so much fun doing this, and I hope that you guys had fun too. You guys got to see my cat earlier, so Miss Jasmine did say that there was going to be some special guests on there. Well, my special guest is my cat, so you'll kind of be seeing her a little bit more here and there. But I hope you guys had fun. I had so much fun doing this. I miss you guys a lot, and I can't wait to see you guys next Tuesday. So please leave any comments, any questions that you guys have for me. Maybe I didn't explain something very well. It's okay. I can go back and always answer you for the next video. So please make sure you guys are leaving us comments. We miss you guys very much, and I hope to see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.